Hello everyone, today's video is going to be a review on the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. The Modern Renaissance palette was so good and so highly raved about in the beauty community that I think a lot of people had really high expectations for this one as well. And a lot of people were disappointed. A lot of people also were not disappointed and really enjoyed their palette. So I'm here to give my 2 cents on the palette that I received. I'm also going to do a quick demo of how the shadows perform on the eyes. So yeah, I think that's everything, and let's get into the review. Okay, so this is what the palette looks like. It has the same texture as the Modern Renaissance. It comes with the same amount of shades, same mirror. It comes in pretty much the same packaging. So these are the 14 shades. 13 of them are new. Fudge, this dark brown here, is a repeat, but it's a different formula than the individual fudge that they sell. It comes with 11 ultra matte shades, 2 duochrome shades, and 1 metallic finish shade. It retails for $55 Canadian, which is the same price as the Modern Renaissance, and you do get the same amount of product, but the formulas and ingredients are very different. The Modern Renaissance main ingredient is mica, while this one is talc. They are both mineral powders. I'm not sure how the price differs between the two, but to be completely honest, I don't think that the fact that this is talc and the other one is mica, I don't think that that is the reason why a lot of people are not liking this palette. So now we can get on to my opinion of the palette. I don't really like it. I think I'm going to be returning it. I kind of want to play with it a bit more, but as of now, I will be returning it next week. I waited to buy it on August 1st when it launched at Sephora because there's a Sephora down the street from me, and I knew that there was a lot of controversy going on about it, and I figured if I was wanting to return it, it would be much easier to just walk down the street and return it to Sephora than to ship it back to ABH. So if you don't like this palette, Sephora and Anastasia Beverly Hills both have really great return policies, and they will have no issue taking it back if you end up not liking it. So now I'm going to move on to the reasons why I don't actually like this palette. First thing, I know there's a lot of issues with these 2 colors, the duochromes. They're really not very pigmented at all. I'm really digging my finger in there, and this is the outcome. They don't swatch well, they don't apply very well. I don't know, it's just not a great shadow in my opinion. I do really like the cube color. I don't mind that it's not pigmented because I feel like it gives a really pretty iridescent look. With the pink and the white, I really think that that's pretty, but it's not easy to apply. My favorite shade in the palette is probably this shade called Adorn. I also do like Cube. It's not my favorite though. My least favorite shade in the palette is definitely All Star, even though it is one of the most beautiful shades ever. It is really, really hard to work with. So honestly, I don't find that these have the worst kick up ever. I'm usually fairly gentle with my shadows when I'm applying them, so I usually just dip it in twice. So yeah, the kick up and the fallout really isn't an issue for me. First of all, almost all palettes have fallout, so I always do my eyes first anyways, so that's not really a concern for me, and I don't find the kick up to be that bad. I don't think they're that powdery if you're gentle. At least mine's not powdery. I know a lot of people say that they are, and I totally believe them. It might be a batch problem, I don't know. All I know is that the one that I got in the mail is not incredibly powdery. And honestly, I think these shadows are decently blendable if you use the right brush. I've found that using a big fluffy brush is the best way to apply these, just because it disperses the color as opposed to really concentrating it like a smaller brush would. I tried using this small tapered brush from Sigma, and I used it with the shade Axis, and it was incredibly hard to blend. For example, I don't know if you can see that, but I just applied it to my arm and it kind of sticks to some places, but I find when I use a larger, fluffier brush that doesn't happen to me, so you are going to have to alter the way that you use this product. And I think that a lot of people aren't willing to do that. A lot of people stick to the way that they apply eyeshadow and don't want to use any other technique. They just want to stick with what works for them, and what works for them doesn't necessarily work for this palette. So these eyeshadows are incredibly pigmented. I was watching Stephanie Nicole's review, and she said that they are pretty much all pigment. There's not a lot of binding agents. I don't know what the ingredients mean, but I know that I trust Stephanie Nicole, and if she says that they're mostly mostly pigment, then I'm gonna believe that they're mostly pigments. So that being said, I find that these shadows do not work well together. I have created a couple looks that I've had to completely scrap just because the colors kind of are so pigmented that they just blend together and look like one gross color because they just mix and they muddy together. And I know how to do my eyeshadow, and with a lot of eyeshadows I do find that I can mix warmer and cooler tones, which this palette has. It has both warm and cool tones that I was really excited to mix to create some really cool looks, but you can't do that. I'm just gonna give you an example. This is the color New Wave that I have blended out onto my arm. And I tried to put a little bit of axis in the crease. And of course, if you do blend too much, you're gonna get a muddy color, but I am being super gentle and it just turns gray. I've found this to be true with the shades Untamed, Axis, Edge, not so much All-Star, Destiny, New Wave, and Roxy. Pretty much all of them. I've found that they all kind of just blend together to just look like one color, and there's no definition in the look. I don't understand the point of having all these shades if they're all going to blend in to look like one color. I feel like if you're going to create a palette, you should be putting shades in there that work well together. Not that these shadows don't work well together color-wise, but formula-wise, you can't create anything with it. The way that I've been successful with this palette is just like one shade in the crease blended out and then one shade on the lids, so they don't have to blend together too much so that it actually looks like two distinct colors. I also find that when you do layer colors in this palette, the colors kind of change and oxidize when put together, and I just don't understand that, and I don't like that because it kind of makes everything look patchy. I did a demo earlier using this palette and I was gonna actually, you know, record the look and do a tutorial, but it turned into a demo because the look was not turning out at all. So I took that as an opportunity to kind of show you how the colors perform and how they apply when used together, and that clip basically shows why I don't like it. I think that Anastasia Beverly Hills was so concerned about having ultra pigmented shadows that they kind of forgot about all of the other qualities that make a good eyeshadow. If they're smooth, if they're creamy, obviously a lot of people think fallout and powderiness is a quality that determines a good eyeshadow. I personally don't, but obviously a lot of people do, so they didn't consider that. It feels like they just focused on pigment and that's it. Another thing that I've noticed with these shadows that I'm not particularly fond of is the fact that they kind of sink into any imperfections you have on your eyelids. I personally don't have perfect eyelids. I'm not sure if you can see it, probably can. On this eye, I have a chickenpox scar. And I know a lot of people don't have perfect eyelids, and I find that especially when I used this burgundy all-star shade, it kind of sunk into my chickenpox scar and really emphasized it, and it just looked weird and it was really unflattering, so I don't like that either. Anastasia Beverly Hills and Norvina did comment and say that they are going to press the shadows differently in the next batch. So if you are interested in this palette still, because the colors are beautiful, I wouldn't blame you. I was certainly interested in it despite the negative reviews. I would definitely wait at least until the next batch, until they've done a little more quality control, because I feel like they might be more attentive to that after all of the backlash. And they are going to press the shadows differently, so if the powderiness and the fallout is an issue for you, then I would definitely recommend checking out the second batch because it may be a lot better. If they do change the formula and they do press things differently and it improves, I will most certainly repurchase this again because I feel like the colors and the thought put into this is just beautiful. It really is a beautiful palette. There are so many looks you could create with it, from natural looks to really bold looks to nighttime looks. So now that you know my opinions on this palette, I'm going to insert a little clip where I'm applying the shadows so you can really see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I have no makeup on except for eye primer. I have primed my eyes and set them as I normally would. Usually I do my eyebrows first, but I'm honestly not even sure if I'm gonna want to keep the look that I create doing this demo. Like honestly, I've had to scrap so many looks at this point because things just weren't blending properly that I'm probably gonna have to take it off anyway, so I don't see a point. And I think I'm just gonna start simple with this shade here called Dawn. So I just did one tap and this is the fallout that came off, which I don't know, I don't think it's bad. I think it's about the same as Modern Renaissance, to be completely honest. And I'm just going to, see, like I already added too much and I just dipped in once. Then I think on the same brush, I'm gonna add a little bit of warmth, and I'm gonna use the shade Roxy to do that. And this is the shade that has been causing everyone grief with the amount of fallout. And I don't think it's the powderiest eyeshadow in the palette. If you see, I just tapped once and it has less fallout or less kick up than the Dawn shade did. And I'm just going to add some warmth, and that's already, see, it's just so easy to add too much, you know? See, that looks really intense, and I just wanted to add a smidge of warmth, and it's just so easy to get carried away because of the amount of pigment. Then I'm gonna take this Morphe Y15 and I'm gonna try the shade Fudge. I have not yet tried this shade. I guess we'll see how it goes. I just tapped in there twice, and I'm being super light, like I'm barely touching my eyelid. A helpful tip too, if you're really set on purchasing this palette and using it frequently, is after you dip into the shadows, tap it on the back of your hand because a lot of excess will come off. See, this got way out of hand. I wanted to do an everyday look, and now it's just like super dark. So maybe I'll just continue making it really dark. I'm gonna then go into the outer corner with this dark purple shade called Rowdy. I'm starting to get slightly frustrated with this. Just looks like I got punched. Then I'm gonna take this shade Destiny here, which is honestly the one that's giving me a lot of grief because it just blends out to nothing. It just looks gray, and it's not a nice pretty gray. It's like a gross pukey green gray, and it's an ugly color that it blends out to. But I'm gonna try packing this on the lid. I don't know, let's try it. See, now everything's starting to change color on me. I think I'm done. If you can see what this turned into, it's not cute. The crease, they don't play well together, these shadows. They're really nice on their own, but they don't work well in creating a look. And I really, really tried. I did. I tapped everything off. I tapped it on the back of my hand. And as soon as I put that green down, it mixed with the fudge and became like a dark gray black color. And I don't know, I just don't like how they mix. And that's everything for this video. I really hope you enjoyed my review of the Subculture palette. If you disagree with me, let me know. I want to know what your thoughts are on this palette. I'm really interested to know. And if you actually don't have this palette, I'm really interested to know if you're looking to purchase it. And if you are or you aren't, why or why not? I just find it so interesting how so many people can have so many different opinions about the same product. So please let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'd really love to hear them. If you like these review type videos, please give me a thumbs up and let me know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.